My boyfriend was a dwarf. Hello, my name's Katie and I'm 23 years old. I'm very confident in my height and appearance. Thanks to that, I became a TikTok idol and has achieved a lot of success and became a well-known social media face. However, my previous love stories were tedious and full of calculations. As a celebrity, I was constantly pursued by a slew of wealthy men. They would give me many work opportunities, but when a prettier girl came along, they would dump me in a night. When I was rushing to the studio to record one morning, I had to stop at an ATM to withdraw some cash. There was a long line of people waiting. When I looked to the front, I realized why there was such a long line. They were all waiting for the same person, a young boy. To be more specific, it was a man who was small like a child. He was trying to tiptoe to insert the credit card into the ATM. The people in that long line were staring at him and laughing. That scene made me feel so bad, so I decided to help him by carrying him up. He was taken aback at first, but then thanked me. I was in a hurry and couldn't recall his face nor say anything back to him. One night, my wealthy boyfriend drove by my house. As usual, I got excited and dashed down the stairs to open the door, but with an expression that was as cold as ice, he told me to break up with him. "Let's break up. I no longer love you." Wait, what? Is he serious? I knew he was always surrounded by many girls, and recently he had been hanging out with someone else too, but he claimed it was his business partner. But now everything was clear. He ended his relationship with me without hesitation. I sat down and burst into tears as my ex-boyfriend drove away. Suddenly, someone placed a hand on my shoulder. When I looked up, a short man was handing me an orange juice bottle. I quickly recognized him as the man from the ATM the other day. He was too shy to approach me, so he just followed me and watched from afar. He said that he saw my exhaustion after work every night, and there was a time when he saw my lousy ex-boyfriend and I shouting at each other. We stayed at our apartment and talked until midnight. We told each other about our lives. His name was Baron, and he worked as an IT engineer. Since he was a child, he had a hormone deficiency, so he could not grow taller after puberty. However, Baron put all his effort to live every day to the fullest, and I confided in him that even though I was famous, I never felt at ease. The media put a lot of pressure on me, and they always followed me around. And all my relationships were doomed. Every night, he and I talked more and more about our everyday lives. I felt better and happier thanks to him. When I was waiting downstairs one day, I noticed him carrying a bouquet on his way to my place. When Baron was about to reach my house, my ex-boyfriend suddenly appeared. He stepped out from his car with a cocky smile and hugged me. It happened so quickly that I was unable to react. Baron left with a sad look on his face, leaving the bouquet on the pavement. Poor him. I wanted to follow Baron, but my ex-boyfriend kept hugging me and told me to come back to him. He even threatened to make me lose my job if I turned him down. But I outright refused and slapped him. He left angrily, not forgetting to curse at me, but I didn't care. I tried to chase after Baron, picking up the bouquet he left on the sidewalk. There was an envelope in the bouquet with the words, "I love you," written on it. I noticed Baron sitting alone at the bus stop. After everything that happened, I took my turn confessing my love to Baron. He was taken aback and happily agreed. Since then, we've become a couple. Life after that was fantastic, though sometimes it was slightly uncomfortable because Baron couldn't drive, so we could only walk or take a taxi. But Baron was always understanding towards me. I also helped him do things that were difficult for his height. It was the first time in my life that I had such a good time with someone. Everything was fine until one day things started to trouble us a lot. Whenever we went out together, everyone would give us a sarcastic look. My coworkers started making fun of me for loving a dwarf who neither had money nor good looks. The media began to write more about us, and the audiences grew harsher. My fans even took aggressive actions against him, such as attacking Baron online and threatening to kill him. One angry fan wrote an anonymous letter one night, threatening to kill Baron if he continued to follow me. At first, I thought it was just an empty threat. But that night, as Baron came to my place with a bouquet, a group of people ambushed him and beat him up, then took him away before I could react. I was terrified and immediately dialed 911. I cleared my schedule to find him with the police. This drew even more attention from the reporter to me, and my family couldn't take it any longer. They took me back and banned me from returning to Baron. Fortunately, after 2 days, the news reported that Baron had returned home, but in a terrible state from being beaten too many times. But because my family forbade me from seeing him, I had no idea how to meet him. The next day, I received a text from Baron. "Let's split up. Please accept my apologies for making you feel uneasy while loving me. Don't look for me or be concerned about my whereabouts." I cried a lot after reading the text. I had to adjust to my new life without Baron, which was difficult because I didn't have anyone to talk to. But how strange. After that, every time I got into trouble, a miracle would happen to me. On a rainy day, an umbrella was sent to me from my apartment security. When I arrived home late, a hot bowl of soup was delivered to me. On the first day of snow, I even received a hand-knitted scarf. I knew these items belonged to Baron. I attempted to call him, but was unable to do so because he had blocked my call. I began partying a lot at the club to distract myself from my sorrow. That night, after the party had ended and I was very drunk, I decided to walk home. While I was walking down a quiet street, a pervert came up behind me and grabbed my wrist, saying dirty words to me. Even though I was drunk, I recognized him as my ex-boyfriend. What was he attempting to do to me? I screamed and tried to flee, but I was too drunk to do so. He forced me into his car and drove me to his house. I couldn't ask for help because the street was dark and deserted. When he tried to bring me inside after closing the gate, I struggled so much that both of us fell to the ground. This enraged him to the point where he hit me and attempted to sexually assault me on the ground. I couldn't scream nor cry because I had lost my voice from too much screaming at the club. Suddenly, I saw a small black shadow entering the gate and hit my ex-boyfriend so hard that he screamed in pain and fell to the ground. The shadow took my hand, called a taxi, covered me up in a coat, and took me home. It was Baron. That familiar shape could only be him. His small body helped him to crawl through the gate and save me. It turned out that he was always following me and protecting me. My ex-boyfriend would have raped me if it hadn't been for him. When Baron brought me home, my parents were both worried and surprised. After hearing my story, they were thankful to Baron and got to know him more. After all, Baron and I reconciled despite all the criticisms. He's now the CEO of a successful technology startup company as a result of his tireless efforts. I'm not sure what will happen in the future, but for the time being, I'm content. We might even get married someday. This is the story of my life, and it's also a very valuable lesson. Always follow your heart and love with no regrets.